Welcome to this video where we're going to work on this report, the Nationality Analysis Report, and it contains three reports here. These first two are pivot tables, and this one is a pivot chart. So let me zoom in and show you the first one. We're going to build this one first. We're going to need the room type, room nights, the sales revenue, and also the net amount paid. And we also need the nationality up here. Now, this is actually a filter. A filter is a field that you can use to select data that you want to show in your pivot table report. So since we've chosen American here, we're only showing the data for American bookings by Americans down here. So let's get started. So I'm going to go to our hotel data. Okay, so this is our hotel data. So to create a pivot table, you click on any single cell inside your list of data and then insert pivot table. Up here, insert pivot table. This is the first report in the nationality analysis worksheet. So we're going to go to a new worksheet here. So I click OK. So now I'm on a new worksheet, and I can double click this name here and type the name now. Nationality analysis there. So here we have a list, and we can pick the fields that we want to appear in the pivot table. And here we have 4 areas where we can make sure that the field we click goes into the right place. So we know that we need the room type on the row, so I click room type. And okay, so I'm going to click the name. I'm going to click and hold, and then I'm going to drag it to the filter. So now it's up here. Okay, so you're going to get a drop-down list, and you can select only the nationality that you want to see in the report. And then for the values, we need the room nights. So I'm going to click room nights there. So if you right-click here, you'll see that it's summarized by the sum. So it shows us the total room nights per room type. So that's the first one. Next, we need the amount on each booking. So we need the total amount. So I'm going to take the total amount here. And when I click total amount, it appears automatically in the values. So that's where we want it to go. And then we need the amount after discount, right? The net amount paid. So I click here. So now we have the 3 values here, and that's it. The pivot table is done. We just need to do some formatting. So I'm going to select these 2 amounts, and I'm going to switch them to the comma style there. And then you can go to design and pick the design you want. Okay, and you can change the names of the labels up here. Right? So sum of room nights, type room nights here. There. Okay, so let's try to choose Canadian. So you'll see that Canadians only booked these 2 room types. Hong Kong. Okay, Hong Kongers booked these 3 room types. Australian. Okay, Australians book the bigger rooms. You'll see they book the deluxe queen and the deluxe suite. And I go to Americans. Okay, this is what we showed in our model answer. And I go back to all. Okay, so we'll go to our second report now. For the second report, so we'll build the second report. The second report is we need to show the nationality on the column, and we need to show the length of stay on the row, and then we want to count the number of bookings. So basically, how many bookings stayed for 1 to 3 nights and booked by Americans. I click on any single cell in my list and go start the pivot table, insert pivot table. This time I have an existing sheet, so I click in location, and then I go to nationality analysis. So I'm going to click like 3 or 4 rows below the first one. So I'm going to enter it here, click OK. Okay, so here's my list. To click nationality here, up here, I'm going to click and hold on the name, and I'm dragging it here. Okay, so now nationality appears in the column, and then I need the length of stay. So here's length of stay, and I want to go to the row. So I click the name, hold it, and I drag it to row. So here we can see the length of stay, and then I need to count the number of bookings. So I click the booking ID. I hold and click the name, and I drag it here to values. Again, for the booking ID, I need to right click, and I want to summarize it by counting it, not by adding the booking ID. So I count. Want to group this. Okay, so we want to group it so that, you know, bookings for 1 to 3 nights are in one category, and then bookings for 4 to 6 or 4 to 7 nights are in another category. So we know that the minimum is 2 nights and the maximum is 10 nights. So let's right click on the length of stay, and there's a group here. So we go to the group, and just to make it look more even, I'm going to start at 1, even though we don't have a 1 night stay. 1 to 10, and I'm going to group them by 3. Okay, so now you can see 1 to 3 nights, 4 to 6 nights, and 7 to 10 nights. By the way, I'm going up here because for the row labels, I need to go to Design, Report Layout, and I'm going to show it in tabular form. Okay, over here, I'm going to do the same. Design, Report Layout. I always use tabular form. Okay, and then for the design, and over here, count of booking ID, I'm just going to change this to number of bookings up here. Okay, so that's our second report. The third one is this chart. So we want to know the average amount spent by each nationality during their stay. And for this one, we're going to build a pivot table first, and then we're going to build a pivot chart based on that pivot table. So we know that we need to use the nationality, and we also need to use the net amount paid. Okay, go back to the room type. So I go back to the hotel data. Okay, I click on any single cell here, and then insert pivot table, existing worksheet, click the location, and I go here. So I go a few rows below the previous one, and I click OK. I need to show the nationality, so I click nationality, and then we need the amount after discount. All right. Okay, right now this one is summarized by sum, but we want to switch to average. Okay, now we have the average amount spent by each nationality, and let us sort this one. So sort largest to smallest. Third, pivot chart, and we're going to use this bar chart, and I click OK. So here's the bar chart. I'm going to position my mouse inside the chart, and my cursor turns into 4 arrowheads. So I can drag it here, and now I can just make it wide as my report up here, which doesn't really need to be that wide. So you have to adjust the widths so that everything looks reasonable. So here's my chart. I just need to make it a bit taller. All right, so we don't need the legend, so I'm going to click here and press delete. For the title, I type average room spend by nationality. Okay, it's easier to read if I add the data labels to the bar, right? So I'm just going to click the plus sign here, data labels, and I take this one. So the minute I tick, you see the amount shows up here. And since I already showed the amounts up here, I can click the x-axis and press delete. I don't need that. And then over here, the labels on the y-axis. Maybe I'll make it like 11. Size 11 up here, and this one too. I'll make it size 11. Here. I don't want to use any of these pre-formatted designs, so I'm going to click on the area that is outside the plot. This is called the plot. I'm going to click outside it, and I'm going to right click, and then you'll see here format the chart area. So I format the chart area. I want to fill it, okay, fill with a solid color, and the color is going to be, it's a bit too, this one, yeah, this one. Then I click the plot area. For the plot area, I don't want to see the blue color background, so I'm going to fill it with a white background. There. If you want, you can also make the axis labels boldface. Okay. So we're done with this chart, and again, this is a pivot chart, so we can actually filter. So if I just wanted to compare, you know, Chinese and Hong Kong and Japanese and Korean visitors, I could actually filter my chart to just, and it updates. Okay, so we don't want to allow our users to filter. So we're going to go to Analyze, and here in Field Buttons, you click the Field button here. So we don't want to show the Axis Field button, so we click this one, so it's unticked. We also do not want to show the Value button, so I click here. So it's there, it's gone now. And then going up here, I do not want people also to be able to filter on the column or row. So I will also do the same thing. I go to Analyze, and I will disable the field headers. So up here, I click, and the field headers are gone. And then over here, well, you can adjust the column widths later, but okay, same thing. I don't want people to be able to filter by room type, so I go to Analyze and I click the field headers. That's gone. Okay, so I need a row above here, right? So I click on this button here that says 1, row 1. I click it, and then I right click and I insert. Okay, so now I got a row here. I'm going to type room type analysis by nationality, right? And normally for a report title, you want it to be 20 and above, so I'll make it 20. Then I can merge and center, bold, and I can put the color. There. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to add the variation buttons.